I was the recruit here, but while I was in basic training for the Air Force, our trash detail was short a man for some reason. I offered to help cause the team was all cool guys. We were also out of trash bags, we took the whole basket down. Important side note, the power was out, and we had been advised that if the fire alarms went off, we were to evacuate to the drill pad as normal. So the alarms went off as we were coming back up to the building and our flight started evacuating only to get caught, screamed at and lined up by a TSGT front CQ. The trash crew knew they had to line up too, and me being about 6'1" and overweight at the time, I stuck out a bit anyways, but then I was also carrying the trash can. A huge metal one. I wasn't sure what to do, so I stood at attention with my arms around it and held it in front of me. The TSGT was baffled and had a good scream at me, asking why I evacuated it and why it was my best friend. So I explained we were out of bags. He cracked a few more lines at me before hurrying off to not lose his bearing. Then two SSGTs came out, if CQ just to see it, and questioned me about my loyalty and how good I was to save my friend. I was trainee trash can for the rest of basic, even to my MTIs. Drill Sergeants of Reddit, Part 3. Obligatory not a drill sergeant stories. As a private, I watched my CO do something I couldn't laugh at. We were doing our long road march at the end of basic training, with our Alice packs weighed down with gear. At the start our CO, pro bodybuilder, I'm talking 4th place light / heavyweight Mr. USA, had a large instead of a medium, the biggest rucksack the US Army issued at the time. His pack wasn't just loaded, it looked ready to literally burst at the seams. The entire road march he keeps offering to change packs with the privates, going up and down the line with this huge grin on his face. He gets to me, and I think F it, why not? As I go to trade packs with him, I realize the bag he hands me is completely filled with pillows. It weighed maybe 5 pounds. He looks at me and motions for me not to say anything and just walks off. So I did the second half of our road march with pretty much no weight. Not a DI, but witnessed it. In our boot camp division we had this huge corn-fed dude that had to be close to 7 feet tall, 250, 300 pound stocky dude. One of the RDCs, Navy DI, was 5 feet 5 or 5 feet 6, substantially shorter than this enormous recruit. We were lined up into rows, facing each other at attention, and the RDC was walking back and forth asking questions for a quiz we had going on. If you got a question wrong you would have to do push-ups. Short RDC gets to the big recruit and asks him his question. Don't remember what it was, but the recruit gave him an answer that was obviously wrong, and it made a guy across from him crack a smirk. When big recruit saw another recruit smile, he proceeded to smile, and RDC didn't like that. So, seeing as how the recruit had a good 1.5 feet of height on the RDC walks away in silence, comes back with a chair, places it in front of the recruit and hops up on the chair, so he's now eye level with the recruit. He starts ripping into him for smiling and not knowing the answer to the previous question. The way he quietly walked away, dragged the chair, and popped up on it like a little kid was enough, and we all started laughing uncontrollably. The RDC, still on the chair, turned around and yelled for us to all shut up. That added to the hilarity, but eventually started to calm down. RDC, still on the chair, tells us to drop and start doing push-ups, but not before he smirked and gave a quiet MF as he dragged the chair back to the office. When my mother served in the Navy she had to do BT twice because 10 weeks and she had injured her knee. My mother was a small woman 5 feet 5 inches, maybe 120 pounds back then, but was always a bit of a scrapper and had actually gotten a few of the other soldiers in trouble for not following regulations. Family is definitely a military family, so she likes her procedures. So her second round of BT she ended up with the same MSG as her first time through. This is how she tells the exchange when standing at attention. MSG. Private Adonis Mom, why are you standing in my line again? Well, Master Sergeant, I missed basic so much I just had to do it a second time. Are you gonna be causing trouble with the boys this time around as well? Men in line start getting excited. Only if they like laying on their backs, Master Sergeant. MSG. To men in line, I don't think any of you are man enough to mess with her. Some other soldier. Why is that Master Sergeant? Because last time she went through basic, one of the other privates tried to sneak into the woman's barracks with a very intoxicated female recruit. Private Adornus mom here gave him a warm comfy bed in the infirmary for the night. Isn't that right, Private? Yes, Master Sergeant. Obligatory, not a TI. RTI came in one morning hungover. His instructions were very clear: I'm hungover and have a headache from hell. I don't even want to hear a mouse fart. Get your wall lockers ready for headlines tomorrow and we'll have a nice easy day today. Simple enough, except as stated so many times before, our own airman pile had other plans. Both bays of the dormitory was silent. Everyone was at their bunk working on whatever they felt needed to be squared away. I was clipping threads on my dress blues when a faint humming starts back in the jungle, double bunk area. RTI, from in his office, screams, "Stop that humming." Humming continues unabated. What the F? You better knock that shit off. By now most of us are looking around trying to identify where the humming is coming from, but it was too late. The TI strolls out of his office, blue shirt unbuttoned, no hat, eyes bloodshot and baggy, darting around the bay looking for the offender. He gets to the very back of Bay 1 and stops, looks at one of us lower airmen, and begins to light him up. TI, so, you like to sing, huh? Get in your wall locker. A P. I'm sorry, sir. No, I gave you a chance. Hell, I gave you two. At this point his voice drops, and he steps closer to the airman. Now get in your locker. The airman complies and puts himself in his large section on his wall locker with the door open. Close it. The airman pulls the door shut. People are trying so hard not to laugh at this point, mused included, and the TI pulls a coin from his pocket and proceeds to slide it through the slot at the top of the locker. Okay, jukebox, play me a song. People start dying, red-faced and laughing. RTI turns to the rest of the dorm deadpan, stern-faced. That was pretty funny, huh? At this point the kid is still in his locker not making a sound. The TI kicks the locker and says, "If you don't play me a song I better get my damn money back." At this point the kid starts humming again inside his locker. We all lost it, including the TI. It was hilarious. And now to the incredible adventures of Fubar Good Boy. Okay, not DS, but one of the troops that always had them rolling. I went to basic at Jackson in 2004. This is important, because at that time a lot of the DS were DS, because they had deployed too many times, and weren't really suited for any other assignment. So why not make them in charge of molding new troops, right? Our DS had us sit around him, POW wow style, like you see in kindergarten at story time. He is the only one in a chair. He's telling us about all the shit he saw while deployed, making these crazy faces and gestures. He starts getting really into it, spittle flying everywhere. He jumps up from his chair, mid-sentence, and grabs a grenade from his desk, pulls a pin, and says, "F it, F you worthless pieces of stuff, I'm done." Chucks the grenade into the middle of us. Everyone, including me, scrambled to get into wall lockers. Couple tried to fly down the stairs. One stupid fucker tried to get himself into the DS office because it had a door and he thought it would protect him. But one private tried to save us all. He dove on that grenade and curled into a ball to shield everyone with his little tubby self. The grenade, obviously, was a dud and the DS was messing with us. The poor sap that jumped on the grenade. Every time any DS called out his name he had to yell, "DS." It jumped up and bit me too. So back then I was a skinny female, 18, with short hair and BCGS, birth control glasses. One DS figured out that I looked almost exactly like Harry Potter. Because of this, I was given extra equipment that I was required to carry on me at all times. A camo stick and an actual stick. Whenever we were out at training, and the DS was bored, he would order me to get ready. So I had to draw a lightning bolt on my forehead using the camo stick, and hold the actual stick at the ready. DS would order everyone to fall in, then order B to sound off. I would have to say Wingardium Leviosa and flick the stick like it was a wand, and I was actually trying to cast a spell. The DS would laugh. Every single time. 3. Our FTX was in February. Our start had been delayed, and we hadn't even set out until late. It was well below freezing, and not even halfway through people were dropping out due to frostbite. We were supposed to get a warming tent, which is a giant tent with one stove in the middle. Between body heat and the stove it was supposed to push you through. But come nightfall, still no heat, just a tent with a dead stove in the middle and a bunch of troops pressed as closely together as possible. DS realize this isn't working, so figure they'd order us to keep moving and just get to the end. I don't know how far along we were, but our DS tell us to take a break, that they had called, and got us chicken soup coming. Tell us to take off our boots and gear and hold fast. 5 minutes later 3DS come screaming out of the woods with CS gas in some cans on the end of sticks yelling chicken soup mother duckers. On top of laughing at everyone crying and snot dripping down their faces, they made anyone who had run away from their weapon do push-ups when they were covered in CS gas. 4. For anyone not military, DS read all letters that get sent in. Or have you read them? One poor guy had a girlfriend send him a naked photo. DS sees this and asks him if he is working on his first fuck trophy, a kid that you have before a deployment or after to mark how many times you've deployed. The poor guy says, DS, I earned that trophy a long time ago. He's thinking that the DS is asking if he is a virgin and going to lose his virginity to this chick. DS responds with something like, if you think real life gives you actual trophies that troop, then I've got one for you. You just won one for the trophy for the ugliest girlfriend I have ever seen. You ever see the movie Bride of Chucky? Because between your looks and hers you all are going to have the ugliest spawn to ever set foot on this earth. Congratulations, Private. The other DS could not contain themselves. If you enjoy this video, consider giving it a like and subscribing.